And we're live on camera. Welcome in, guys. How you doing today? Paul Markel, student of the gun, coming in here in just a moment. Hopefully we'll have him on live camera. I sent him the link late, so that's my fault. We've been having that problem last couple days, Greg. That's my, well, not we, me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know what
there's no we there. That's me, guys. That's all me. This came in today. Thank God my blackout coffee came in today, guys. I'm telling you what, lifesaver. And so good. We'll be with you in just a minute, folks.
Daily Defense.
Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, because they don't want me to. That's why I do it.
From the CZ Studios.
They're never going to stop us here.
Here is your host, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting the enemies of freedom, Mark Walters.
And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, your Friday edition begins right now. Welcome to the weekend. I am Mark Walters, filling your prescription for freedom today and every day here in the CZ Studios, Monday through Fridays, in front of the Patriot Mobile Communication and Command Center microphone at the Patriot Mobile Ranch. Greg and Dallas, how you doing? Thanks for sending us some nice hot weather, finally.
Well, you're going to get some rain over the next few days.
Yes, I'm aware, and the weather people here are going to go absolutely berserk because they're calling for temperatures 20 degrees above normal and a cold front coming in, which at this time of year just means we're going to get some severe weather, and the weather people here are going to go nuts, and it's going to drive me insane.
Yep.
Why? Because it happens every spring and every fall, and they're going to go nuts. They're just going to go nuts. So I'm not going to watch it because I can't.
It's going to be wet outside. That's what it's going to be.
I got this in the mail today, guys. My blackout coffee came in today, and this is the Equator. It is 79% single origin organic Peru Bagula Grande and 25% Tanzania peaberry. I don't know what that is, but I tell you what, it is good. And guys, you know, we had Defender coffee here I took for years. This is far better coffee. I'm just saying. I'm just being honest. So if you haven't made that switch yet, consider it. And there is a promo code or a QR code up there on the screen that you can hit during the breaks. Please go ahead and do that. We would appreciate it because guess what? When you do that, well, it takes you to blackoutcoffee.com/AAR. You get the same coffee we have here at the ranch. Greg, we are live on Facebook and Rumble at Armed American Radio. Facebook.com/Armed American Radio, Rumble.com/Armed American Radio. I'll let you do your thing, and we'll get with Paul Markel, the student of the gun.
Sure, other places to watch the show are going to be YouTube. Just do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters. You can also watch us on X at AAR Mark. You can head over to the website and watch us over there. The website is armedamericanradio.org or .com. Hit that menu icon, then select your watch live or listen live option. And lastly, if you'd like to join our live chat, all you have to do is download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
My laughter was not for you. It was because when I brought Paul up on camera, it's fun to see him. He could see me, and he just gave me a little funny wave. He's just so sassy, that Paul Markel. Paul, welcome in. How you doing, brother?
Oh, just dandy.
Hey, so here's the deal. Yesterday I had all kinds of guest scheduling problems that were caused by me, and today I forgot to send you your invitation to be on camera, and I texted it to him, and, well, that means he has to forward it to his email because I'm stupid and didn't send it to him, and it was 3 minutes before the show, but here he is.
We figured it out.
We figured it out. He's right on time. Paul's the real deal, and he gets it. Paul, welcome in, brother. We have a couple big stories I want to cover with you today, and then we can take it whatever direction you want to go. Feel free. It is a Friday. But we had a 3-judge Court of Appeals panel striking down D.C.'s magazine ban yesterday, or day before yesterday. And, you know, the D.C. Circuit is D.C.'s court of last options. I mean, that's it for D.C. Now, what can they do now? They can appeal to the Supreme Court. They likely will not do that. Virginia, just across the river, has Democrats doing the same thing. Are the Democrats in Virginia going to pay attention to what the District Court of Appeals just did and striking that ban down under Bruin, citing specifically, Paul, that these are in common use by the tens, if not hundreds of millions? Now, these being, of course, standard capacity magazines that the left likes to refer to as high capacity magazines. Paul, this is a big deal out of D.C., and being right there across from Virginia could be a help to them, but I think you'll agree with me, the Democrats in Virginia just don't give a damn. They're going to do what they do anyway, right? So go ahead.
Yeah, it's a rhetorical question. You're like, will the Democrats? It's like California. It says, so the courts have struck down the California law, fill in the blank, and so California is going to obey the law from now on, right? No, they're not.
No.
Because they literally, you have to understand that liberalism is a mental disease to the point where they truly believe that their feelings trump the law. Now, if the law agrees with their feelings, they're okay with it. If a judge agrees with their feelings, they're okay with it. But if the law, or in this case, the courts, if it goes against their feelings, then they'll just ignore it.
Which they're going to do. And you're right. That question was the definition of rhetorical. There's no question about it. We already know the answer to that. The Democrats are not going to pay any attention. They're not going to look and think, well, the D.C. Court of Appeals just struck down one of our main objectives here, part of our main part of our agenda, and that's magazines. Well, yeah. Oh, we better get in line because, well, they're probably going to do the same to us. They simply don't care. Here's the bigger picture with that. They know it's going to happen. They know it's inevitable. They will waste millions of taxpayer dollars anyway, Paul. They will do it anyway.
Oh, absolutely. They're going to use your money to enslave you. Never forget that these satanic pedophiles in the state capitals and the nation capital, they still are going to come out with their hands out and demand that you give them your money so they can use your money to enslave you. It's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, unfortunately for those that live behind that wall, it's reality. And there should be, and you know, this has always burned me, when you have politicians in their official capacity being sued for something that is blatantly political, blatantly unconstitutional, when they are sued by individuals or even the federal government, knowing that they're violating the law, it is taxpayer dollars that defend them, and if any payout is won, it is the taxpayers who are on the hook for that payout. It is 100% qualified immunity, 100%. And it burns my bridges. It really, truly does, because they don't care. It doesn't matter. They're not subject to any harm themselves, Paul. We've got to end that.
Oh, absolutely. That's how we've gotten to the point where we are. Is there's no, as we've said, there's no repercussions for their behavior until they're held accountable for their behavior. They're not going to change. I mean, it's literally like a 5-year-old throwing a tantrum, and you give them a cookie to shut them up, and you have just guaranteed that they're going to throw another tantrum because there were no repercussions.
Right.
And until we, as the people, figure out a way to hold them to account, it's not going to change.
Let's figure out a way. How do we, the people, there you go. It's a tattoo that says "We the People." You can read that. I believe that deeply. That's why it's inked in my arm. The other side is the Second Amendment. How do we, the people, solve this problem in Virginia? You know what I would love to see? I would love to see Virginians withhold their taxes collectively by the millions. But they won't, because the threat of the government coming after them and it being a crime, they won't do it. I'd love to see that.
No, they're comfortable. Americans are comfortable. And I mean, look at the history of the last 50 to 100 years. The government just keeps, they keep coming around doing more unconstitutional things. Brother, look at the history of the last 5 to 6 years. Look at the number of people that bent the knee out of fear, that sheltered in their houses, that wore masks in their cars, that stood in line to take the experimental shot. Look at the percentage of and it's sad, but until those, and I'm still waiting. I don't know about you, but I'm still waiting for apologies from these people. I knew it was a scam. I knew it was a scam from day one, and I said so on our program innumerable times. I said, I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm not going to hide in my house. I'm not going to take your experimental gene therapy. I'm not going to do it. And I lost friends. People stopped following us as a program. People stopped talking to me as a person because I wouldn't get in line and bend the knee. And if you can't get people to stand up to the blatant lies from the government, I mean, brother, is Fauci ever going to prison?
Please. That guy's living a life on a yacht somewhere. He's making more money in retirement than the President of the United States makes annually, which, by the way, Trump doesn't take a salary. He donates it all. No, he's not going anywhere. Paul, we're getting ready to take our first break. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle in, please. These hours fly right by. You know that. You've been listening for a while. You understand that. And, Greg, I don't think you know this either, Greg, and we'll make this big announcement on Sunday because it matters more than now. But I do want to point out, ladies and gentlemen, that Armed American Radio is now welcoming KHNR 690 AM and FM at 94.3 in Honolulu, Hawaii. Aloha, mahalo. It's a pleasure to be filling your prescription for freedom every Sunday now.
10.
That's a beautiful thing. We're on the island. We'll be back with Paul Markel right after the break. Don't go away.
following segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show.
Guys, it's really easy to do that. nra.org/AAR and join the National Rifle Association. And while we're at it, let's mention that coming up in April, we'll be broadcasting the show from Houston at the NRA annual meetings. And that will be an awful lot of fun. And I know a lot of you are going to be there, and I'm looking forward to shaking your paw. Come on up. We might even mic some of you up. We'll be there broadcasting this show live during the day, and we'll be taping throughout the day on Friday and also on Saturday. And then you'll hear some of that on the Monster Cast as we bring some fine folks in, including Doug Hamlin and John Comerford and the rest of the NRA leadership, who is doing great things over there, guys. So support them, please. nra.org/AAR. You can find them and Blackout Coffee. And here it is, guys. I've been waiting for this. My bad for ordering it and thinking it was going to be here in time, but I've been drinking so much of it. It's the real deal. blackoutcoffee.com/AAR. Take advantage of that. And also shop over at our exclusive online retailer. That, of course, being budsgunshop.com, budsgunshop.com. You can find all of them at armedamericanradio.com, armedamericanradio.com. We're also working with some other folks behind the scenes that when that comes together, you're going to love the products. Paul Markel, student of the gun, welcome back in, my brother. So I think we're of like mind that the Democrats in Virginia are going to ignore it. D.C. got slapped. Question, is D.C. stupid enough to try to seek cert at Supreme Court on this ruling? I don't believe they are, because they know they're going to lose.
I don't think so. I don't think so. But anything's possible. Anything's possible. But I don't think the Supreme Court would hear it. I think what they would do is just kick it back down.
Yeah.
And see, that's a death knell too. So if they try it and they get it kicked back down, then they're like, okay, court said what the court said. End of story. We don't need to hear from you anymore. However, something that I can't fathom is you recall about 20 years ago, maybe a little more, maybe 25, that there were all these blue cities in America, in Ohio, in Illinois, you name it, that had decided that, well, this might be, quote, a red state, or this might be a gun-friendly state, but we're not a gun-friendly city. So we're going to enact our own gun restrictions. For instance, Columbus, Ohio did that. Dayton, Ohio did it. Cincinnati, they're like, well, they enacted a magazine restriction ban for the city limits of Cincinnati. Now, the state Supreme Court finally took it up, and they said, no, you cannot make up your own laws that are contrary or contradictory to the state law. Okay, fantastic. Then how is it that these states like New York, Colorado, Illinois, and so on and so forth can still make up laws contradictory to the Constitution of the United States of America? And how much longer are we going to just sit and spin and allow these blue state dictators to steal our rights?
Yeah, that's a pun intended, a loaded question, but there are some answers for that. And I like this conversation. I like being able to see you. Guys, Paul and I have known each other for a very long time, and when we sit in a media room at SHOT, these are the conversations we have, and I'm honored to be able to bring you a conversation like this in a conversational tone, particularly not just on radio, but also on camera as well. Paul, there are some answers to that, and that goes back to the fact that they just don't care. And the reason they don't care is they know it's going to have to be litigated. And they don't care if it's litigated because they have taxpayer dollars funding their litigation. They know it's going to take years. And their ultimate goal is to bankrupt the firearms industry. It's to bankrupt the organizations like Second Amendment Foundation, National Rifle Association, Virginia Citizens Defense League, New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, who, by the way, effectively slapped New York in the face with a rolled-up copy of the Constitution. I hope it still bruises them in the Bruin decision. But they just simply, as we talked about at the outset in Virginia, they just don't care. And they're going to continue to do that even in the face. And this is even more egregious. When state has, for example, we can talk about Florida, we can talk about Minnesota, Pennsylvania is a great example. Philadelphia and Pittsburgh are notorious for doing this. Ohio, Cincinnati, you mentioned, Dayton, Columbus, Akron, Cleveland, they're all notorious. More so Columbus and Cincinnati and Dayton when they did it. but violating their state's preemption laws, which are very strong. Pennsylvania has great preemption laws. You're shaking your head. Florida has great preemption laws. Yet in violation of the state preemption, Washington State, a blue state, has great preemption laws. And Seattle is playing games and lollygagging around all the time. But when I think about preemption, I think the two cities that come to mind more than any are Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. And if I had to pick between those two, I would say Philadelphia. Philadelphia has been blatantly violating Pennsylvania state preemption laws for years, carving out where they can carry, making their own rules. And the state has finally had enough and said no. They've gone to court. Pittsburgh lost with the assault weapons ban after the synagogue shooting in Chicago. Pittsburgh did whatever they could, just as you described it. And you have to ask yourself, they know it's a violation of state law. So when they do this knowing it's a violation of state law, what does that make them? That makes
They're criminals.
They're criminals and they're tyrants. Those are the two operative words.
Absolutely. If you and I knowingly conspired to violate the law as citizens, they would catch us, try us, and even if we didn't do it, it's like when these representatives and senators, when they propose a bill that violates the Constitution, people are like, this, and I don't know how to talk to these people, and I'm sure you occasionally run into them. Well, the Constitution's not a law; it's just a guideline. Yeah. No, it's a law. It's the law, which is funny. So the easiest way to shut people down, they're like, it's just a guideline. So you say, so we can have slaves again? I'm like, no. I'm like, well, why not? Well, because it says. Where does it say that we can't have slaves anymore? Well, in the Constitution. Oh. Can Ohio pass a law? Let's just, or Utah. I'll get to a great one because of Mormons and stuff. Can Utah pass a law forbidding women to vote?
I guess they can pass whatever they want. I know where you're going.
Can they? And can they enforce it? And people are like, you can't enforce that. That violates the Constitution. It violates the 19th Amendment, or is it the 19th or 20th? I can't remember. There was all that prohibition mixed in there with giving women the right to vote. But they're like, but you can violate the second, and that's okay. Can we violate the 13th? Can we nullify the 13th Amendment?
Well, if you
that's
go
not
back,
even one of the original 10.
Let me take this to the break with this. Greg used to have the clip. I don't think. Well, you're probably not going to be able to find it real quick. You just brought it up. Maybe Greg can find it during the break. We can come back on the re-intro of the next segment. But Joe Biden famously said, "No amendment to the Constitution is absolute." So we tore that up when he said it, and we will continue to tear that up. So what does that mean? Does that mean that the 13th Amendment can be violated because it's not absolute? Those 100% legitimate questions, ladies and gentlemen, because when you tailor this back and bring it back to your gun rights, it's exactly what we're talking about. They just don't give a damn about the Second Amendment. And the reason they get away with it, Paul, is because they've been getting away with it for so long. Right there. We'll be back with Paul. We've got 2 more segments to go and a whole other topic to get to. Don't go away.
No amendment to the Constitution is absolute.
There you go. I knew Greg had that queued up in there somewhere. Thanks, Greg. Let's have some fun during the break. Martin says, you're looking quite scruffy there, Mr. Mark. Yeah, but I shaved down here. This is by design here. I'm doing my thing again and see if I can, grow it out a little bit, because I flirt with it all the time. And then it gets to a certain point where I just can't get past it because it itches, Greg. I can't grow the beard. And I've grown the goatee before, fairly long. But I'm going to try to give this a whirl. I'm going to try to give it a whirl one more time
You got to get past the itchy stage. So even though it's itching, you just got to ignore it, comb it, get you a little beard comb and comb it out to kind of scratch it as it itches. And then once you get about 2.5 or 3 weeks past that, it shouldn't be bothering you.
I can never get past the 2.5 days when it starts to itch, but I'm going to give it a whirl. I'm going to give it a whirl, guys. Let's see what we can do. Because why not? First time I grew out a goatee full length was years ago. It was right after the movie Tombstone came out. And I'll get some AC going on here in the studio, Mark, please. It's very hot out in here now. And I was going to Tombstone, Arizona for the first time with my girlfriend, who wasn't even my fiance at the time, who is now my wife, and my business partner and his girlfriend at the time, who wasn't yet his fiance, who later became his wife and then his ex-wife. Imagine that. And I grew it out, it was so itchy. I couldn't stand it for weeks, but I forced myself into it, and I grew it out quite long. Went out and got, we got to all those bars in Tombstone, and we just had a blast. Let's just say, I'll just admit it, I got hammered. And next day I woke up, I cut that thing off in the hotel room and just cut it off. I couldn't take it anymore. Like, okay, mission accomplished. I hit Tombstone, went out and had some fun, and now I'm taking it off.
You can't have anything cool without a little bit of suffering, so.
I guess that's true, right?
All great things have a little suffering involved.
Yeah, I could touch on a couple things on that. I'm not going to. I don't want to get myself in any trouble.
Yeah.
Part of our listening audience. But Martin, thanks for that comment there. And then Tony says, hey, Mark, just want to do a correction on my statement from last Wednesday. VCDL President Philip Van Cleve will be speaking at the event. We were talking about Tony's comments about there being a rally on the 14th. Next Saturday, March 14th at 2 p.m. It is being organized by Instagram influencer Micah Goodman. There is a link to the event under VCDL's webpage, VA Alert, Virginia Alert. Near the top of the page is a section showing the rally. Click it, scroll down to 14, and there will be a link to the flyer. Sorry for the confusion.
And 30.
No big deal there. Appreciate it. Let's get back on the stage here for you guys.
The following segment of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is being brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Visit patriotmobile.com/AAR and use the AAR promo code to get free activation today. Welcome back to the show.
Patriot Mobile phone right here in my hands, ladies and gentlemen. You too can activate a Patriot Mobile phone by visiting patriotmobile.com/AAR, patriotmobile.com/AAR. And by doing that, you support a business that will be at the National Rifle Association with a huge booth, who was at SHOT Show with a huge booth, who was in Harrisburg with a booth, who was at every single large pro-gun rights deal with a booth, because they support your right to keep and bear arms. Their top three competitors, that being Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile, don't go there, and they don't show up there. They don't sponsor events like Turning Point. They don't sponsor gun rights organizations. They don't sponsor gun rights events. No. But Patriot Mobile does, and this is a company that you should be supporting. If you have a cell phone, and you do, just move one line over. Give it a whirl. It's easy to do. patriotmobile.com/AAR, and take advantage of all the great discounts over there. You do that, you're going to get a free month, and they will give you a credit up to $500 if you still owe money on your phone. So you won't have to pay a phone bill for quite some time, okay? Take advantage of that and support the businesses that support your right to keep and bear arms. It's mission critical right now in today's day and age, because the Democrats aren't stopping, folks, and that's what we're talking about here today in front of the Patriot Mobile microphone at the CZ Studios. Paul Markel, student of the gun. Welcome back, my brother. It's always fun to have you here.
Yes, sir. So I knew my mind is usually right. It was the 19th Amendment
Yes.
that gave chicks the right to vote. So let's just say
6. You're just so
that
sassy. He's so sassy.
we
Greg.
just let's
He's
just
like Pete
say
Buttigieg. He's just sassy.
that we decide to address the largest danger to the republic, and that is liberal women. So we decide to address that, and let's say Utah or whoever comes up with a law, and they're like, hey, we're not going to completely take away women's rights to vote. We're just going to prohibit them from voting in national elections. They can still vote in the local stuff, that for their county commissioners and things like that. But we don't think that they're of the right mind to be able to choose the president. Would that be okay? Would that be all right?
Well, another rhetorical question. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, you'd say, so are all the reasonableness, the reasonable-ists out there, they're like, well, come on, Paul, you can't, there's some restrictions are necessary, Say, okay. And they're like, well, we're not telling you can't own a gun. We're just saying you can't own certain kinds of guns in certain circumstances, and they can't smell like this or look like that or weigh like this. So, we're just modifying it. Say, okay, we're just modifying Amendment 19. We're not saying that women can't vote at all. We're just putting some restrictions on it. Mm-hmm. And after all, the history of Amendment number 2, according to you, is we can put restrictions on any amendment we want. Would that fly? I would love to see an attorney from, GOA or NRA get up in court and say, okay, can we put reasonable restrictions on Amendment 19?
We all know the answer to that question. The answer is it's not going to fly.
Well, people need to have the stones to say it out loud.
We are loud when it comes to our gun rights. Let me make that point. Each state has some more powerful than others, states' rights organizations, who are very vocal about this, but it doesn't make a dent behind the blue wall. There have been people that I've talked to before with some deep pockets that wanted some help with some introductions with particular gun rights groups so that they could help fund them behind the scenes very quietly. I won't name names. And part of that discussion was, let's stay out of California, let's stay out of Massachusetts, let's stay out of New York, because we're spinning our wheels and we're wasting our money. We don't stand a chance there right now. Now, that's just a good, sound financial decision. Those of you in California, New York, Massachusetts, and others, New Jersey, don't want to hear that.
You dug your own grave.
But it's a fact. Now, when we talk a lot about what can people do, I'm going to give you one example that pops up in my mind as we speak right now, spontaneously. Gavin Newsom is all against having to show an ID to vote in California. And a measure is coming up for voters in California. And apparently millions have signed from both aisles, across both aisles here on the political spectrum, are in support of showing ID to vote in the state of California. Is that a good sign? It is a good sign. But what makes that topic more important to the leftist voter in California than the constitutional right to own a firearm? Why doesn't that carry the same weight that voter ID does? Now, there's a lot of psychology behind that because a lot of people who vote left are stupid. They've been brainwashed. They're suffering from TDS. They're emotional. And that voting bloc that you're talking about, let's just be right up front about it. You're talking about suburban white liberal women, Paul, who have been drinking the Kool-Aid and feel rather than think. That is a very real thing. In fact, that defines the differences between liberalism and conservatism is thinking versus feeling. And anybody with a brain cell knows that you cannot argue, particularly successfully, not even argue, with someone who feels and doesn't think. You're not going to be able to get anything across to that person. You just walk away from that conversation, save yourself the headache, or go get a bottle of bourbon. Maybe do both. But you're going to want to save yourself that problem. You're going to save yourself that headache. But why the difference, Paul? Why the discrepancy?
I don't know, brother. I can tell you this, and it's such a truism, And the truism is that the people will always be abused by their government to the point that the people will allow. They will always be abused to the point that they will allow.
Let me give you. Let me go back to Virginia quickly. Let's give an example of that. Okay. Virginia is going to pass a slew of draconian gun control measures, and there are right now today as we speak, suppressors are flying off the shelves. Gun sales are through the roof in the state of Virginia, higher than any other state out there right now because of the Californication of that state with Spamberger. So that's a good thing for the firearms industry. But the reason it's happening is a bad thing for all of us, all Americans, because it is messing with a constitutional right. And here's what's getting ready to happen. All of those gun owners are going to buy their guns, have them, and then comply with Virginia law when it goes into effect. How do you square that? Where's the line? I mean, this is what we talk about every single day. Why don't those people, come on.
I've been harping for years and years about the slaves in Connecticut. You remember the lines, the pictures of the slaves in Connecticut standing in line to register their guns before, the time was up. And, we brought it up in there, and people are like, whoa, what he wants to. People in other countries literally die trying to fix their governments. Look at Iran. I mean, we'll never know the numbers, but it's in the tens of thousands.
Oh, it's more like millions over the years. Millions.
Well, yeah, but just in the last month.
Yeah.
In the last, 8 weeks since the current rumbling,
30.
Tens of thousands of citizens were murdered by their government. So we're sitting over here fat and happy, satisfied to be able to have our 10-round magazine gun that the communists in California, the fact that there's still FOID cards. Somebody brought that up to me the other day. I don't know why, but it came up, and they're like, oh, I know why it was. Because they SWAT raided a guy for having 38 rounds of ammo without a FOID card or something.
Yeah, Paul, hold on to the thought. When we come back from the break, I want to go back to that SWAT raid because there was another guy who was popped for having 3 guns and, maybe 100 rounds of ammunition. I guess they thought it was an arsenal. We'll be back. A lot to cover in the next segment. We're going to move quick and try to get it all in. Paul Markel next after the break. So Norsman there, thanks for pointing me to Buds. You're very welcome. Call him and tell him we did that. I would appreciate it very much. Buds is the real deal. And Bill Lawrence had to increase my blackout coffee from 3 to 4 bags. I'm going to have to do the same thing. In fact, I did, but I think I didn't go to 4 bags. I went to, 2 or 3. But, yeah, I mean, guys, blackout coffee is the real deal. It's extremely good. It's. I kind of hate to say this, but sometimes the truth hurts. I drank Defender coffee for years. Don't get me wrong, Defender's great coffee. This blows it away. Just blows it away. And when I say it's strong, I mean its flavor is strong. Now, it has the you can go in there and buy I would call it over-caffeinated stuff. That's not my bag. I've tried it before. No, I can't handle that. No matter how beat I am, I can't handle that. But nonetheless, it's there for you if you want it, super caffeinated. But the flavor of the coffee in every single roast I've had, and I get the Roaster's Choice every single month now, 2 bags or 3 bags, I think. And this one's Equator Watch. Let's see if I can tell you anything about it on the back. No, just as far as the Equator Watch goes, what do we got? Yeah, well, here it was. I mentioned that earlier. It's 75% single origin organic Peru Bagua Grande, 25% Tanzania Peaberry. Sorry, I got my computer glasses on, so it's kind of hard to see there. But this is the Roaster's Choice for the coffee club for the month, and it's Equator Watch. And you can see I opened it right before the show went live, literally about 10 minutes beforehand. I've got very little of it left in here, as you can see. And it's actually still warm in this cup. This is the cup I stuck in the microwave yesterday and got it out before it started to spark. I'm about done, so it's going to be perfect timing as we close out the show today. Stick with us, guys. We'll be back in about 2.5 minutes. Great to be with you today. Hope you're enjoying the program.
This segment is brought to you by Attorneys on Retainer. Get the only self-defense program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back.
Here it is, guys, attorneysonretainer.us. Here is my card. I carry it everywhere. Biggest no-brainer sponsor we have ever partnered with on this show. They are the real deal. If you carry a gun, put this in your wallet. Don't be stupid. Have this. My daughter just filled out some paperwork for them yesterday and took a couple phone calls. They are incredibly accommodating. Please have this in your wallet. You already carry a gun because you already know bad things can happen, that there are bad people out there, and there are. That's why you carry a gun. It doesn't stop there. God forbid you have to use your firearm. You will be looked at by the cops, folks. It's that simple. And that investigation, I've had people on the show who couldn't come on for over a year because they were under investigation. I'm not having any idea how the Fulton County DA was going to rule in their case until they ruled in their favor because they had good attorneys, but they didn't have this, and it cost them an arm and a leg. Tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars. Don't let that happen to you. It's $37 a month. attorneysonretainer.us/AAR. I know you're on the fence. If you haven't made the call yet, just get off the fence and do it. Find the change in the couch cushions if that's what you have to do, and get it done. Take care of it. Make sure to visit them at attorneysonretainer.us/AAR. Check out all of our great partners. You can find them all. Pot of Gold Auctions. Michael Sedini and Cheryl Todd will be with me on the Sunday broadcast. We are going to be covering one of the auctions coming up for Walk the Talk America and the very noble cause over there for preventing suicides. And we're going to be talking about that in great detail on the Sunday broadcast. So make sure to tune into the Monster Cast when your weekend is winding down. We appreciate that very much. You can find all of our great partners, all of them, at armedamericanradio.com. Paul Markel, student of the gun, welcome back in. I want to jump quickly. There's a few things I want to cover with you and kind of hit you on the fly, live. I was speaking with Jared Yanis from Guns and Gadgets today, and he's got a 45-minute video out that he really needs this to get legs. Not that he doesn't already with over 780,000 followers on YouTube, but we need more than this. And I know now that the Second Amendment Foundation, investigative journalist Lee Williams is looking into this, and others. They turned the Second Amendment into pay-to-play. And he sits with a man who, he and his wife, are going to 8 individual states where they can get out-of-state permits, non-resident permits, and they're going to every one of those states, and they're reporting back how much money it is costing them, how much time it is taking them, and it is literally a pay-to-play system. Now, we know that, but to see this put together in whole, in toto, by somebody who is actually doing it, and the hoops they're going through and the money that they're paying is eye-popping, to say the least. Now, I want to tag this with Michigan wanting now a bill in Michigan to become the 30th constitutional carry state, and I want to tag that with Senator Mike Lee, who has filed a bill to make constitutional carry the law of the land in the United States, Paul, where none of this is necessary. Now, that's great. We had to go through, remember, Paul, we all went through it. Oh, so cool, I got my permit. Yeah, I got a permit, even though permits are unconstitutional. Then every state had some type of permit system after years and years and years of fights and legal battles. Then we realized when all the states had permits that we really don't need no stinking permits. But we had to go through that process, kind of like we had to suffer through Biden for 4 years in order to see exactly how bad it is under the Democrats and their leadership before we could get Trump back in office. So that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing, but we had to suffer through that. Now we've got 29 states that are constitutional carry, and that is the way things are rolling. Eventually, I believe all 50 states will be constitutional carry. Does Mike Lee's bill stand a chance? And can we finally put this permit structure that we all loved during the time to bed once and for all?
Wow. How many questions do you want me to answer at once? Well, yeah, the reason that we ended up like with the situation we had, let's say pre-87, pre-Florida, right? When we had allowed, see, of course, if you go back 200 years, there were no restrictions, there were no permits. Our founders would have been just completely enraged. I mean, they'd have broken out the tar and the feathers and the hemp rope if someone would have said, hey, you can't buy a gun unless you go to the magistrate first and ask him for permission and give him money, and then after you give him money, he'll give you a piece of paper that says you're allowed to buy a gun. But we were too accommodating. The American people for a long time have had this bad habit of being accommodating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, well, it's not that bad. It could be worse. Derp, you know, and we say things to ourselves. A great one was when Lickenbottom passed all that nonsensical gun control crap.
You mean Hickenlooper?
Yeah, Lickenbottom. When he did all that crap, I heard people said, well, it's not good and I don't approve of it, but at least they'll be satisfied and leave us alone. No, they won't. They will never be satisfied. There is no such thing as enough gun control. And let's go back to Iran. We talked about, you know, I'm really ashamed of my fellow countrymen when there are people in other countries literally dying, not figuratively, like being murdered by their government through protest. You know, oh, you don't like the government? Pow, we're going to kill you and make an example of you. We have that, and then we have people in our country that can't be bothered to go vote. You know, they can't be bothered to sign up for a one-year NRA membership because, well, I one time I signed up for the NRA and they promised me a free hat, and I never got my free hat, and I'm never going to. What? Shut up. But in Iran is a fantastic example. Before they killed them in scores, in thousands, what did they do first, Mark?
They disarmed them.
They disarmed them.
Yep.
If you want to have some fun, Google it. Google what it takes to be a, quote, lawful gun owner in Iran, and the answer is you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You could be a member of the government, but if you're a citizen and they catch you with a gun, you are going to prison if they don't kill you first. So, you know, and we've talked about this previously, but every single time someone brings up gun control, someone needs to say to them in their face, what is it about your agenda that requires me to be disarmed?
Yeah, we've asked it for years on the program. What is the plan? There's an ultimate plan. Paul, you've got 30 seconds. Keep rolling, brother. You're on a roll.
No, I mean, you look at Venezuela, look at Iran, look at anywhere. The step one, disarm the people. And disarmament's not just about objects. Disarmament is about convincing the people that the government has the authority to take away your liberty. It's mental. And when you accept it, then you become a slave, like California, like New Jersey, like Illinois.
And now like Virginia. Sadly.
Bingo.
Sad
Dude,
to
are
see.
we out of time?
I tell you, it flies right by, brother. Here goes your Friday. Where can people find you and buy all your books? There's too many to name. Where can they get it?
Oh, well, there's a place called Amazon that has all my books. But you could go to sotgu.com. Sign up for training today. Use the promo code AAR. Save 15% on your tuition.
Paul, we appreciate it, man. Thank you, brother. Great to see you on the radio, as always. That's Paul Markel, the professor, student of the gun, sotgu.com.
Funny.
Paul, we love you, man. Hey, guys, your weekend is now underway officially because, well, I said so. It's a Friday afternoon. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. Carry on, carry often, carry absolutely everywhere. Never, ever, ever leave your cave without your club. No self-respecting caveman. Whatever you caught outside his cave without his club, don't be that caveman. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. See you on Sunday.
You just filled your prescription for freedom on Armed American Radio with Mark Walters, the loudest voice in America fighting for gun rights.
Guys, get your blackout coffee. Just go do it, okay? And visit all of our partners at armedamericanradio.com. Support them all. We wouldn't be here without them, okay? And if you're interested in being a partner, reach out to me. It's easy to do. DM me on one of my social medias, facebook.com/armedamericanradio, rumble.com/armedamericanradio, YouTube, okay? It's easy to do. Reach out to me on a DM over at X. That's the easiest way to do it. That Mark at Armed American Radio email address gets just thousands and thousands. I can never keep up with it. So it's best way to do it is do that on social media. And pick up some blackout coffee, please. Visit budsgunshop.com. Pick up a crossbreed holster. Check out CZ's line of arms, car arms, all of them. Great companies that support your right to keep and bear arms. Visit them all. And don't forget to shop over at pogauctions.com. Cheryl Todd will be coming up along with Mike Sedini on Sunday's Monster Cast. And I do want to point you one more time to Jared Yanis's website. Go watch the video over at Guns and Gadgets, guys. They pay to play for 2A. It's about a 45-minute video. Get you a cup of blackout coffee or an adult beverage. Sit back and watch this. It's something you already knew, but you haven't seen presented this way. It is utterly mind-boggling. It will anger you, and it's exactly why we need constitutional carry, and it's why we need to push Mike Lee's bill. More about all of that coming up on Sunday. Grill hard this weekend, folks. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. See you on the radio on Sunday. And welcome to Honolulu, man. Love you guys.